welcome to Art Journaling Adventures for Beginners. Today's art journaling adventure is going to be about tags, and this is the first of a mini-series group of videos on how to create tags and then using those tags to create a journal. We're going to begin today by talking about why anybody would want to create tags. What's the whole thing with tags? So I found over the holidays with COVID and everything, I'm just tired, and I love to create, I love to be creative, but I'm so tired I can't think of taking on a project. And then I saw on somebody else's art website, they were talking about decorating tags. And if you don't know what tags are, this is basically what a tag is. They come in all shapes and sizes. And they said, you know, they had decorated tags, and I thought, well, wow, that's such a small surface. I could play with that. I could decorate that and do something fun with that, and then I would be done, and I would get the satisfaction of being creative, but feeling like I finished a very small project as opposed to something on a larger canvas or a book or whatever. So that's how I got started on doing tags, and from there I came up or saw this idea and decided to make my own tag journal. So this video is going to ultimately take you to creating a journal made out of tags like this. This has got 17 different tags in it that are all hand created, and because I want the option to journal on them, each tag has a place that you can write. So the front side on this one doesn't have any place that I can write, but when you flip it over, it's got this little pocket, and it's got a card in it, and the card is actually a place that I can write. So each of these tags has some place that I can journal something, along with having my whole creative process. So that's what I'm going to show you, is how to end up with, if you want to do a journal, fine. If you don't, that's okay. But how to create beautiful tags, and if you want to, then turning it into a tag journal. So let's start out with why you would want to make tags. I already said it's because to me it's an easy, short project. It's something you can do very quickly. The other thing you can do is make tags and give them as cards. So here's a tag that I made, and this is just made out of everyday things, which is also one of the things that I'm going to be showing you, is how to make tags out of stuff that you already have around the house, so you don't have to go out and buy a bunch of expensive papers and all that kind of stuff. So this tag was made out of a cutout. This picture's from a magazine, and I just put a piece of paper in it, and this is a decorated piece of paper, but it doesn't have to be. I could use this as a card, and on the back of here it would say happy birthday or happy anniversary or whatever you want to say on it. This could be a card that you could send somebody, and it's obviously different. It's not the same as any card they would be getting. You can cut it to fit in an envelope. You can also make them in a smaller size, like this size, and obviously that would be nice for a gift that you were giving somebody, and you could make it possibly match the wrapping paper, or you could use some of the gift item, whatever's in it, you could use as the concept to color it. All right, so that's the reason to me why you would do tags. It's a quick and easy adventure. It's many uses for it, fun uses, and you can do it very affordably. So that's the other thing to me, is you don't have to have a lot of extra special things. All right. So, source for tags. Where can you, in your own home, so that you don't have to go to the store, where can you go and get nice tags? Well, let's just move this out of the way, and I will show you some of my favorite place for tags. Now, you can just go to the store and buy either a Staples, you know, like a office supply store, or you can go to a hobby store, a craft store, and you can just buy tags of a variety of sizes. If you want to do that, you're probably not going to want to watch the first two videos, because I'm going to show you things to source tags so that you can make them out of things you have around the house. But if you just want to buy them and be done with it, then go buy tags. That's fine. All right, so that's a tag. How can you make tags from things around the house? Some of the things that I have used to make tags. Cards are fun to use to make tags. They usually have pretty pictures on the front. You could use the whole front of this as a tag, so I just trace this right on here, use the whole thing as a tag. I can use the inside or the back as a tag and then cover part of it. So this whole card to me has tag potential. What else do I have around my house? I love tissue boxes. Tissue boxes are gorgeous. They're a good sturdy weight cardboard, so they're actually a good weight for tags. And they have really pretty pictures on them. I mean, that's a gorgeous image. Or look at this one. This is a picture of the U.S. Capitol in Washington, D.C. with the cherry blossoms all over it. I mean, that's gorgeous, and that would make a beautiful tag, and then you would only have to decorate the second side. Something else that I use to make most of the tags in that tag journal that I showed you is folders. And folders, you can use a plain old manila folder that's you've maybe used and you don't need it anymore. You've already written on it enough times. But I love keeping an eye out for folders at the dollar store. Or Walmart or somewhere that they get rid of them cheap, they can mark them down. So look at these fun tags. I mean, I could cut that out. That would make a really cool tag front, or this green color would make a nice tag front, and it's a nice cardboard weight. Look at this gorgeous folder. I mean, wouldn't that make a great and beautiful tag side? And then you'd only have to decorate the inside. And one of the advantages of these decorated folders is that they also have colored insides. So it just makes it easier to make it pretty. It's already got something on it. This one's a fun one. It's just got a nice pretty black, but it has a very shiny gold dot in it. It's just white on the inside, but it's got this pretty gold dot. So I love using new and old folders that I have around the house because they come in a variety of different colors and you can get them printed and they're not expensive. So you either don't have to buy them, or if you do decide to buy them, you can get them very affordably. So that is just a few of the things that you probably have already around your house that have maybe one side decorated and the other side needs to be decorated. Old flashcards, a deck of playing cards. Those are all things that are a cardboard, a heavy weight that you can cover and decorate and create either a journal or gift tags out of. All right, so that's where do you source tags without buying them? Just anything that's cardboard that comes into your house. It can be mail. Mail is here's a flyer from a PT place. That I can cut down to a smaller size. I have to decorate both sides, obviously, but it's a good weight. It's cardboard, so I don't need to buy new cardboard to do this. I can use things that already come into my home, and I always keep stuff. If I've got, stuff comes in the mail and it's a nice cardboard. Look at this is the inside of a package for a stencil. But that's a really cool pattern, and that would make a beautiful one side to a tag, and then the other side is white, so then I can do whatever I want on the other side. So just keeping an eye out in the mail, in your food. The kitchen is a great place to find cardboard boxes for cereal, for crackers. A lot of the organic packaging is it's pretty. So it already has some pretty images and colors and patterns on it. So anything that's cardboard is the perfect place to get your cards for making your tags. All right, so what we would need to make our tags? Very simple. You'll need a ruler, you'll need a pair of scissors, you'll need a pencil, and if you have one, if you don't have one, it's fine, but if you have one, an X-Acto knife is really handy and easier than scissors, but again, you don't have to have it. It's just as easy to do it without it. All right, so where do you begin? When I made this tag journal, I wanted them big enough that I could make a pocket on it to hold a paper large enough to write on. That's why I chose the size that I did. Too much bigger than this is probably going to get kind of unwieldy. It'll be kind of bulky. I would say this size is probably not going to want to go too much bigger than this. And this one, as you can see, is an arbitrary size. It's a little more than 3 1/4 by 6, and I don't even know what. It looks like 6 3/4. There's nothing standard about this. I just arbitrarily picked a size, and that's the size I use. It's kind of the size of, well, no, actually it's not. So it's a very arbitrary size. All right, so what am I gonna do? Well, I'm all about efficiency. So whenever I find a source, for example, like a folder, so let's pick this pretty folder. Whenever I decide I'm going to use a folder and if I'm going to do tags, I just go ahead and cut several of them. And that way, I'm ahead of the game. So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to decide what size you want. And because I like this particular size, 3 by 6, I'm just going to go ahead and measure off I'm going to use 3 1/4 inch intervals because that's what I did. So that's 1, 2, 3 1/4, and 1, 2, 3 1/4. And I'm going to go down here so that it lines up, and that way I can cut it pretty smoothly and evenly. Now I'm going to draw another set of lines. That was 3 1/4. 1, 2, 3 1/4, and 1, 2, 3 1/4. All right, so that's 3 inches wide, and I'm going to make them, let's just say 6 1/2 deep. First I got to cut this off, so let's just cut off this extra bit here. Let's just cut that off and get it out of the way. And this is where an X-Acto knife comes in really handy versus scissors, is I don't have to do anything. It's just slice it off. All right, so I want it 6 1/2 deep, so I'm just going to measure 6 1/2 deep here and go up to my top and measure 6 1/2 again, 6 1/2, and then we're just going to connect this. And because I have an X-Acto knife, I'm just going to cut it. If you don't have an X-Acto knife, you're going to draw the line and cut it with scissors. Since I have an X-Acto knife, I'm just going to go ahead and slice this off. I couldn't cut all the way through. Just do one more little cut here because it didn't cut all the way through. There we go. No. Looks like I need a new blade. Good grief. There we go. All right, and then from here, I'm already all set up to cut 1, 2, 3 tags. So again, if you have an X-Acto knife, you can use the X-Acto knife. If you don't have an X-Acto knife, then feel free to, now here's a good point. So I measured this with a rounded end. So that means that this particular tag, this first tag, because it's going to cut off here, is going to have this rounded corner. It might be a good idea in the future, where I'm thinking ahead, which I wasn't, to start from the end that's both squared off. And that way your tags will all have a square edge, and this is the edge that you will cut off. I don't care right now, so I'm just going to cut this off just so you can see what I'm doing here. And just line this up, and we'll cut it off. This is kind of a goofy line, and I can't see it, so that's why it's taken me so long to make this cut. So let me just measure this again, 3 1/4. All right, again, I can use a pencil line if I want to, and then cut it with my scissors, or I can use an X-Acto knife. And there I have my first tag. I can cut 2 more of these. So I like to cut several, and then I have them all ready to go. And I will generally find several patterns. So for example, I like this black and gold with this pretty black and red and silver sparkly one. So I might cut 3 of these and cut 3 of these. And these, then I know they'll all match. So they're going to look pretty together. And that means that I've got 6 cards to decorate that would go together to make my journal. So it makes it much easier. I've already got something halfway decorated. So I would cut probably 3 out of this, 3 out of this. That way I've got 6, and then I could alternate them or bring in a third cardboard texture or some of my tissue papers or tissue boxes and use some of those to mix in with it. All right. So once we've got the tag cut, oops, you know what? I forgot one more thing that's handy. The other thing that's handy is a hole punch. So the last thing you're going to do before you decorate it is, let's measure this again. And it was 3 1/4, so I need half of 3 1/4. Oh, this isn't even 3 1/4, so that's not even that straight. And guess what? I don't care. I don't care that it's not that straight. That's one of the things I have come to love about art journaling, is that I don't have to be perfect about it. I just get to play. All right, so what's going to be half? Half of 3 is 1 1/2, and then I need 1/8. So that's about half. I don't need it exactly half. And I want to leave at least 3/8 of an inch to maybe half of an inch from the top. And I'm just going to put my punch in here and cut that. See, I've got it like lined up in the middle of the line. I'm just going to go down here so I make sure I give myself space for it to hang. And my card is all ready. It's all ready to decorate. And then I can use this template to put on top of other cards so that I punch my hole in the same place every single time. And I'm just going to leave the one rounded corner because I think that's going to be kind of cool. Just make it a little bit different. This card will be unique. So that is it for this video on, first of all, what is a tag journal? Second of all, why would you want to make a tag journal? And third, where do you find sources for your tags at home that don't require you to have any money? It just requires a pair of scissors, a ruler, a pencil. A hole punch is nice. Oh, let's talk about that before I sign off. So what if you don't have a hole punch? If you don't have a hole punch, let me grab another card here. Can't find a card. Let's see, here's a smaller card. All right, so let's say I don't have a hole punch. So again, oh, there's just something else. It's easier for you guys to see. All right, so if I don't have a hole punch, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to look for the middle. So this is a little less than 3. So right about there is the middle. And I'm just going to kind of guesstimate a circle. It's going to be really handy to have an X-Acto knife if you don't have a hole punch, and you can do an X. Just from the edge to the edge of the circle you've drawn, and then you can carefully cut around edge to edge, and that'll cut that out. It doesn't have to be perfectly round, because just like I said, it doesn't matter. All you want is a hole. You can even cut a square if you want to. It really doesn't matter. My hole punch I got at the dollar store for $1, so it's not a big investment if you have a dollar store near you. And so there I have, it's not a perfect hole, but it's a hole, so that when I go to put my ring through it, I at least have some place that my ring will go. And that's only goofy because I didn't cut it well enough. There we go. All right. So it doesn't have to be perfect. It's not exact. You don't have to have a hole punch. It does make it easier. That's it on today's video, Art Adventures with Tags. On the next video, I will talk about how to decorate your tag. And so I'll give you a list of things that you can find around the house to decorate your tags. And all those little extra embellishments that make it look interesting. So here's an example of tags that I made with stuff around the house. This one I already showed you. So this one's just made from a magazine picture. This is actually from an envelope. This is a piece of paper out of a journal. All right, so nothing special on here. This one's one of my favorites. This is actually from a tea can. And I used a tea tag to decorate it. This is a poker chip or a bingo chip. So you don't have to have expensive stuff. You can get it right around your house. And so next week I'll talk about, in the next video, in Art Adventures with Tags number 2, I will talk about all the things that you can find around your house to decorate your tags so that once again, you don't have to go to the hobby store. Thanks for joining me. For now, I'm signing off. This is Lisa with Art Journaling Adventures for Beginners, and I hope you'll tune in to Adventures with Tags video number 2.